Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Third and King podcast. Today is Thursday, May 23rd, and the Giants just took another game and therefore the series from the Pittsburgh Pirates. A lot of this is going to sound similar to yesterday's episode, so don't turn this off if you hear anything similar. But the win was eerily similar to how it went down last night. The Giants went down 5-1 after another grand slam, this time from old friend Joey Bart, who we wish well, and then held the line, clawed back, and eventually won the game. The Giants battled against Paul Skeens, who looked good, but didn't blow the Giants away like he did the Cubs in his last start. So he exited after 6 innings, and then the Giants got to a vulnerable Pirates bullpen. The Giants themselves had bullpen arms unavailable, but somehow they made it work, and they took the game and took the series. Pretty funny, considering I was worried mostly about these last 2 games against Jared Jones and Paul Skeens. Yet those are the 2 games they won, and they lost the game that they had a 6-2 lead going into the 9th inning. So it's just funny how baseball works. We're just going to keep it going, talk about 4 things I liked about this game. There were a lot of things to like about this game. And then 4 things I didn't like about this game. So let's get to it. The first thing I like is obviously Matt Chapman. My word. Had an incredible game again. Had an incredible series. Just looks absolutely unbelievable. By the time you made that play on Joey Bart in the 8th inning, I was laughing out loud because he is just playing at another level. There's that cliche that the game kind of slows down for you when you're in these hot streaks, and it really looks like that from a viewer's perspective. He hit another huge home run. He was playing great defense, and he's just on another planet right now. And I didn't want the Giants to sign him, especially when the rumors were that it was going to be a huge deal, because I was like, well, we have a Matt Chapman at home in Casey Schmidt, and I was wrong. He started the year he started the year looking good and then cooled off almost immediately, but has been playing great ball on both sides of the ball. Dave made a really good point on the TV broadcast where if you weren't super familiar with the Giants or Matt Chapman and you just tuned into this series, you'd think Matt Chapman was the best player in baseball because that's how good he played the whole series. The second thing I wanted to talk about that I liked was Elliot Ramos. Had another great game, almost went under the radar compared to some of these other performances, so I wanted to just talk about it real quick. I have no idea why the Pirates went to a lefty when they did in the 7th inning there, when Ramos ended up hitting a solo home run to make the score 5-2. Against that part of the lineup, I just don't get going to a lefty there, so thanks, Pirates. Ramos is kind of like what I consider a platoon plus bat, at least right now, where he's definitely playable against right-handed pitching, but is just going to clobber left-handed pitching. So going to a lefty at that part of the lineup, I didn't understand, and good on Ramos for taking advantage of it. And then speaking of platoon, just a quick shout out to Brett Wisely, who had the go-ahead hit against Aroldis Chapman, lefty on lefty. You know, he was in there as kind of a platoon bat, but they stuck with him and got a huge hit. Okay, and third thing I liked that I wanted to talk about was Randy Rodriguez's performance, again, in back-to-back days. He seems to have gone to the Camilo Doval school of not being able to throw strikes in the minor leagues and then coming to the big league level and just becoming a dude. Not exactly sure where that came from, but hopefully he can keep it up, especially with a lot of their normal bullpen arms, Ryan Walker and Camilo Doval specifically, being unavailable because they've worked so much lately. That was just huge for him to come in and have another dominant inning. And lastly, for things I liked, I've been kind of critical about some of the pinch hit and or non-pinch hit substitution decisions that the Giants have made or not made. But in this game, I mean, I think Bob Melvin managed the heck out of the game in the late goings, putting in Wilmer, bringing in Luciano to pinch run, bringing in Bailey late in the game. I think he pushed all the right buttons. Can be easy to say with the benefit of hindsight, but I really do think he made the right decisions in all of those, even if it hadn't have worked out. Okay, so those were 4 things I liked about this game. Now we'll move over to 4 things I didn't like about this game. First of all, stop going down early. Probably makes it harder on yourself to win, makes for a fun entertainment product when you do come back and win. Those games were exciting. I said this about last night's game as well. I think it showed a lot, even if they wouldn't have come back to win, to just come back and make it competitive instead of just rolling over. But yeah, let's stop giving up grand slams early in the game. Because of that, Luke Jackson got the pitcher win. So LOL pitcher wins. The home runs the Giants gave up today were to Andrew McCutchen, former Giant, Joey Bart, the grand slam, former Giant, obviously, and then Brian Reynolds, who was drafted by the Giants and then, funnily enough, traded for Andrew McCutchen before McCutchen found his way back to Pittsburgh. So just kind of a funny note there. And then the next thing I didn't like about this game was Marco Luciano's defense. We only got it for half of an inning, but sure enough, he made an error. Kind of redeemed himself with a really nice tag on Patrick Bailey's throw to second base, but I think the Marco Luciano experiment at shortstop is running out of time. The third thing I didn't like, and this actually ended up being good for the Giants, and since we just talked about that tag, I have no idea what the Pirates were thinking trying to steal second in the bottom of the ninth there. Tyler Rogers gives up a lot of weird contact. It's very possible that somebody could have just blooped one into right center field, and then you're at first and third anyways. And just with Patrick Bailey's reputation for how quickly he pops up, his great arm, again, a great tag by Luciano. I get wanting to get in quote unquote scoring position with a game tying run, but I just don't think that was the move there in that situation. The last thing I didn't like about this game which is kind of funny, but Rowdy Tellez was getting booed by his home crowd. I don't like booing players. Maybe I'm just a softie at this point in my life, but I couldn't help but feel bad for him, even though he's on the bad side of a lot of Giants fans because he kind of went on the record saying he didn't like San Francisco as a city, even though he's from Northern California. But I just can't help but feel bad for a guy getting booed by his home crowd. He's not playing well, but I can't imagine that that helps. Trey Turner was going through a rough spell last year, so the Phillies fans started giving him a standing ovation every time he came to the plate, and then he turned it on. Went on fire. I don't know if those things are related or not, but I just feel bad for players when they get booed. On deck for the Giants, they've got a 3-game set in New York against the Mets. They've got Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, and Logan Webb lined up to pitch. The Mets are really scuffling right now, so this has a chance to be a really successful road trip before they go back home to play the Phillies again, who have remained really hot since the Giants played them in Philadelphia. Hopefully the Giants can really take advantage of their position and strong start to this road trip and finish it out strong. That's going to do it for us. You can find us on social media at Third and King Shop. You can visit our website at thirdandkingshop.com, and we'll be back with another one soon. Thanks.